Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on the 28th of November, 2021. It is the first Sunday of Advent, and what we especially celebrate on this Sunday is joy. So as we move through this together, let us be aware of the invitation to experience joy. And we are blessed to have Faith Halverson-Ramos to play music for us today and provide us with her beautiful voice. And I will be doing a talk and a meditation. So we'll start with Faith, please.
Well, this first song is called Grateful by Deborah Barber. Grateful for the morning, grateful for the sunlight on my face, grateful for the feeling, grateful for the knowing, grateful for the love that's in this place, grateful for believing that God is all there is, that God is all there is. Grateful for the morning, grateful for the sunlight on my face, grateful for the feeling, grateful for the knowing, grateful for the joy that's in this place, grateful for believing that God is all there is, that God is all there is, that God is all there is.
Thank you, Faith. So as we go into prayer this morning, I light the joy candle. Beloved presence, everywhere present, we are reminded that light is another name for God. And so we celebrate the light within and the light around us today as we join together in anticipation of the birth of Christ consciousness, the renewal of Christ consciousness. We celebrate our well-being, we celebrate our connections, including with our beloved pets. So we celebrate in joy. And so it is. And Faith will provide us with music.
This is continuing with the light theme. This is Closer to the Light by Herb Oda. Oh, from day to day, it's so hard for me to say if the road that I'm on now will lead me right. But year to year, it becomes a bit more clear. Seems like I am getting closer to the light. And when my burden's great, so that I bend under the weight, and it seems like I'm surrounded by the night. Oh, well, I don't mind traveling along this darkened road if I'm traveling closer to the light. Every day I start with this compass in my heart, and it helps to keep the road within my sight. And And as I go forth, looking for magnetic north, seems like I am getting closer to the light. And when my burden's great, so that I bend under the weight, and it seems like I'm surrounded by the night. Oh, well, I don't mind traveling along this darkened road if I'm traveling closer to the light. And when my burden's great, so that I bend under the weight, and it seems like I'm surrounded by the night. Oh, well, I don't mind traveling along this darkened road if I'm traveling closer to the light.
Thank you, as always, Faith. One of my very favorite songs. So I'm going to begin this talk with a poem by Rumi. Do you know what you are? You are a manuscript of a divine letter. You are a mirror reflecting a noble face. This universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you are already that. Years ago, about 2005, I went to an avatar training. It was 9 days of intensive training of spiritual practices and how to raise our consciousness. And it was presented by Star's Edge. So there were hundreds of people there. I was staying in a hotel because the program would go like from 7 in the morning until about 10 or 11 at night. And there were people from all over the world. So you could hear this buzz, kind of like a beehive, of all these different languages being spoken during the breaks. And I learned how to rest into that sound, how to settle into that and let it wash through my body and soul. So when I remember that event, there are several things that really stand out for me. Again, the purpose was to raise our consciousness level. And there were many exercises, many meditations, and they were in order to enable us to access the divine within and allow us to realize how expanded that is and how, as humans, we have a tendency to limit that for all kinds of reasons. So each day I felt safer, more peaceful, and excited about what was coming up. One exercise I remember really fully was we were to pick some being and spend several days with that being in order to more fully be in their consciousness. And so I picked a chameleon. They were plentiful down in Orlando. And so I would go and I would be near a chameleon and I would just observe its behavior. And again, this was about a 3-day exercise. And after a while, once I could let go of my doubt or dismissal of the point of the exercise, I believe I began to experience the world through the eyes and body of a chameleon. And the thing that I took away from that has stayed with me so strongly, it was not afraid. It was not anxious. It didn't seem to worry what was going to happen next. it was very present to itself, to its life, to its environment. So if there was some kind of startle, some kind of prey, something that happened near it, it would respond. It would respond by its whole body getting a zap of get the heck out of here or freeze, whatever. And then it would recover its normal consciousness. So I became very aware of the difference between that chameleon and myself. I became aware of my tendency to worry and be anxious about the future, which of course takes me out of this precious moment. So I share that with you in part as a reminder that we have a part of our brain that is called the reptilian brain. It's really deep within our brain. And it is the part of us that responds to danger. There are other parts of our brain that respond to that and continue to have an expectation or anticipation of danger. So that's something that we all need to work with, catching ourselves in that moment of what is not real and pulling back from it to what is real. One of the things that I really want to address today is what is the most real. And this is about sacred service. And sacred service is ministry work, and we are all ministers. Ministry work of serving God. So I'm going to explore some of what that means and some of how we do that. And the piece that I took that was most profound from that avatar training was that because God is all, there is nowhere where God is not. God is experiencing everything. Everything anyone does, everything anyone feels, so does God. There is no escaping from that. That's a huge understanding. That's a huge piece of wisdom. So what I believe is one of our highest forms of service is to do our best, to always do our best, knowing that sometimes it's not so beautiful. And yet we catch ourselves, we take a breath, and we begin again. So as we do our best, imagine what God is experiencing. So in unity, doing our best is about raising consciousness. Because through our consciousness is how we perceive ourselves, the world, and others in the world. We are fully divine and we are fully human. And in our fully humanity, we are unique. Each of us is one of a kind. And in our divinity, we are all the same. And God experiences it all. So one of the things that I heard at that avatar training from Harry Palmer was there's a difference in knowing intellectually and experiencing. We all have great intellectual faculties. I know you guys. I know some of how you think and how brilliant you are. And it's so easy to rest into and rely on that. And yet what our ancient teachers try to provide us with are practices to simply be, to simply rest into presence, to be presence. And I know when we have experienced that, well, I'll speak for myself. I know when I have experienced that, it is the richest of experiences. Everything is more colorful, sounds are more beautiful. My body feels whole and complete regardless of the state it's in. And I have a sense that I don't even have to put into words of being a part of the whole. It is a coming home. So Meister Eckhart says, because God is everywhere present, we are made of God. There is nothing that is not God. God is creating the entire universe fully and totally in this present now. God is creating now. Everything God created, God creates now, all at once. So given that we are divine, we are called to also create. And when you think about it, every moment we breathe, every moment we exist, we are creating something. So I'd like to continue to grow more mindfully in what is it that I'm creating, because some of it's not so pretty. In Unity, we believe there are several ways to especially increase our consciousness, and one of those is prayer, and one of those is meditation. Prayer is a call to essence. When you are sincere and allow room for essence to appear, it will. So if you want to experience love, peace, or acceptance, act loving or peaceful or accepting, and essence will follow. The motive needs to be pure, of course. And this is from Gina Lake, Return to Essence. The motive needs to be pure. Whoops, here comes my humanity. It's not always pure. Yesterday, a friend on Facebook asked, what is the medicine of skunk? And it's reputation. Being concerned about what others think of us. And of course, timing is perfect. And as she asked this question and I thought about skunk, I realized I had anxiety about preparing this talk to share with you. I had a concern, not being the chameleon, of what you would think of me, of what your opinion would be of me. And I was getting caught in a little energetic spiral downward and remembered this is a talk about service. So how can I serve? How can I serve you? That's a calling for all of us. The other thing that was hard yesterday, I get up in the morning and I open up my phone and I read the news. I like to be informed of what's going on in the world. There were many years that I didn't. I was just too sensitive to it all. So I needed to close that out. Now I want to know. And the first thing I read about was the new COVID-19 variant, Omicron. And even as I say that, my body shifts. My throat begins to tighten. Breathing becomes a little harder. And that may be true for you too. This is a scary time. And what it brought up for me was grief. I had begun to enter more fully into the world. I had just spent Thanksgiving with my daughter and her family. Last year, I spent Thanksgiving alone, as many of us did, because we were in more of a lockdown state. Well, now I see parts of the world are locking down, parts of the world that have identified this variant. And I got scared, and I got sad, and I grieved. And being human, initially I didn't want those feelings. I just wanted to shake them off, move forward. And the more that I tried to do that, the worse the spiral became. And I remembered that God is experiencing all. God is experiencing that sadness and that grief and that hopelessness. And God is also creating everything in this moment. So remembering that, I vowed to myself to allow those feelings to exist and move through them, allow them to move through me, anticipating moving toward more joy. I have had moments of joy since then. And being fully human, I have a whole mix of feelings. It is helpful to me to remember the word emotion means energy in motion. We need to allow these strong feelings and sensations to move through us, which means we experience them and God experiences them. And as they move through us, we are then more clear to open up to essence, to open up to moving through the hierarchy of emotions. And what we know is we can't just go zip from sadness to joy. We have to go through different levels of emotions. And I think that being willing to do that is part of our sacred service. It's no accident that as humans we have these emotions. We're all familiar with the term spiritual bypass. And what it refers to is to all of a sudden become uncomfortable and then to delude ourselves into believing we are something and somewhere else and feeling something else. We deny what we're feeling and we jump into hopefully something else, and it doesn't work. There is no shortcut to being human. So one of the things that I fully believe is that as humans that are fully divine, we are each called to service each other. And we'll look at some of the ways that we do that. There's another quote: when we summon the courage to take ownership of our experiences, to see them just as they are, to feel them, we will recover the blueprints of our lives. We'll remember who we are. We will face our fears and find the transparent beliefs that create them. So one of the beliefs that I hold in those moments is, I'm human, I'm going to die, I'm going to stop to exist. What I know is that I am more than that, as we all are. And existence will change. There will be differences. I don't know what they will be. And sometimes not knowing is scary. But that belief serves me. It keeps me going. So Mark said, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. There are lots of reminders in the Bible. There are lots of reminders in the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, all of the scriptures that we are here to serve. Corinthians tells us that there are a lot of different gifts. Some people have the gift of wisdom. Some people have the gift of understanding. Some people have the gift of tongues. Some people have the gift of understanding and interpreting the tongues. Some people have the gift of prophecy. We all here have the gift of kindness. I know that. I have seen that from you. I have seen that in you. I think that's one of the ways we serve. regardless of our feelings, regardless of our struggles, we can reach into and be kindness. Peter says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So I want to invite all of us to become increasingly aware of what are our unique gifts and how do we share them. Sometimes it's very easy to get shy about sharing them or to feel like it's not humble to share them. Back to that skunk, what do people think of me? And when we do that, when we're in our fully human place of denying our gifts, we aren't in that moment serving God to our best as we want. So let us remind each other of our gifts. Let us say to each other out loud or silently, I see you, I acknowledge you, and I know you have the gift of kindness and compassion. I know you have the gift of making music. You can't say that to me, but that's okay. I know you have the gift of making art. I know you have the gift of making children feel safe. I know you have the gift of tending to animals. I know you have the gift of witnessing someone's suffering. That is a huge gift. Eckhart Tolle in A New Earth talks about sacred suffering, how we cannot evolve and raise our consciousness without suffering. That if we're willing to be with our suffering, to experience it, it is an internal fire that transmutes us, that elevates our consciousness. It doesn't happen like that. That's spiritual bypass. But it happens. Some of us are graceful with our suffering. Some of us become toddlers with temper tantrums. Regardless of how we see another's suffering, and it could come out as anger. Let us take a breath and remember to see God within them and God within ourselves. This world has been topsy-turvy, and sometimes from our humanness, it's hard to recognize the God within another. And yet, that will be one of our best forms of service. We're called, I believe, to do that and to support each other in that. I have shared with you many times over this last year and a half how quick I am to come to judgment about people's decisions and actions. That doesn't serve anyone to do that, and yet it's part of my human nature. And by recognizing it, and by sharing it with you and being supported by you, that has really shifted. I go there, but not so frequently and not so vehemently. So thank you for that support. Another form of service, I believe, is paying attention to and following our intuition. We have 5 senses in our being fully human. Those 5 senses are here for us to enjoy beauty, for us to communicate with each other. And then we have another divine sense of intuition. And that is guidance of how to be and how to do. So I encourage all of us to remember to listen to that small, still voice and follow it. And I have shared many times stories of when that small, still voice spoke to me and I tried ignoring it. And it just gets louder. So follow it. Action, doing, action can be a form of service. We are all called to be and to do. And if we can do out of our highest being, that is grand service. So that doing might be opening a door for somebody at the store when their hands are full. It might be noticing somebody in a wheelchair looking at the highest shelf and saying, "Can I give you a hand?" We don't know necessarily how that might impact another. Maybe that's none of our business. What we know is if we do that out of goodness, we're serving. Allowing. We're currently reading a book, The Magic of Surrender, and it identifies, as we all know, how hard allowing can be. I know sometimes my human nature gets in there and wants to make changes with things that I don't like, things happening that are bigger than myself. And I'm like a little tiny ant fighting this rolling boulder, but I keep at it for a little while until something in me collapses and something in me rises. And then it's allowing. I think that word allowing ultimately means a spiritual surrender. And yet we often have a distaste of that word surrender. So I am playing increasingly with the word allowing. There are many ways to serve. I've only touched on a couple of them. And when we are alive and we are experiencing, let us remember we are co-creating. Yes, God is creating all in this moment, in this very moment. And we are participating in that, even if we're not necessarily aware of it. We're participating in it because God experiences everything. God experiences our denial. God experiences when we shut down. God experiences when we do our best, when we shine. God experiences our kindnesses. And what we know, regardless of how well we're doing, God experiences everything without judgment. Without judgment. The judgment is within us. Light is a synonym for God. The other powerful synonym for God is love. Love. Love does not judge. And love allows. We have free will, so God allows us to be fully human and fully divine. In unity, there is a creative process that we can rely on. So I'm going to go over it just very quickly. The first step is the conception of an idea. And we talk about God as divine mind, divine idea. And we talk about divine order, and that is the creative process, divine order. So first there is an idea. Now, where does this idea come from? It comes from God. Now, we in our humanness may distort that idea. And then there is an expression of that idea. An expression can be a feeling about it. Oh, wow, that was a great idea. Or I'm not sure I want to do that. Whatever the expression is. And then there is a quickening of life. God is life. And life is substance to us. And so in this part of the creative process, we are filled with zeal, with desire, with joy to see something happen. And then we bring in the masculine nature of wisdom and the feminine nature of love. And as human beings, we are called to embody both of those, to be both of those, wisdom and love. And wisdom helps us discern. It helps us make decisions. This is okay. This is better. And love allows us to go through that process without judgment and with desire. The energy behind love is desire. It is a propulsion towards something. That is how we make things happen. So that's just a brief reminder of that process. The phrase you will hear often in unity is mind, idea, expression. Mind, idea, expression. And it's often, that's the divinity piece. And the humanity piece is mind, idea, manifestation. So that's co-creation. And I'd like to finish this talk with Meister Eckhart's poem on divine love. It is your destiny to see as God sees, to know as God knows, to feel as God feels. It is your destiny to see as God sees, to know as God knows, to feel as God feels. How is this possible? How? Because divine love cannot defy its very self. Divine love cannot defy or deny its very self. Divine love will be eternally true to its own being, and its being is giving all it can at the perfect moment. God's not holding back. And the greatest gift God can give is his own experience. Every object, every creature, every man, woman, and child has a soul, and it is the destiny of all to see as God sees, to know as God knows, to feel as God feels, to be as God is, to be as God is. And so it is. At this time, let us take a breath and we will go into meditation. And I encourage you to use these few moments to be mindful of your unique gifts. What is it that you, as a fully human and fully divine being, bring to our world? Because our world needs you. Our world especially needs you now. So throw away for a moment any self-consciousness, any doubt, and open up to what is yours to do and what is yours to share. And faith will provide us music during this time. Thank you. Thank you, Faith. And so it is. So we will hear another piece of music from Faith, please.
This is You Are the Light by Carrie Hillary. You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of love. You are the light of peace. I am the light of peace. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of peace. You are the light of joy. I am the light of joy. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of joy. We are the light of hope. We are the light of hope. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of hope. You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of love. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of love.
Thank you, Faith. So I invite everyone to notice how the divine moves through us when we listen to the songs that Faith has provided. You know, the music, the words, the intent, it fits right in with what we are wanting and needing today. So that's an example that we have with us on a Sunday. Thank you, Faith. We can do things out of desperation. We can do things out of obligation, or we can do things out of inspiration. That last one is the highest service, I think. So let us go into a moment of inspiration and share our light and love with the world in this donation of light and love. And we do that by taking a breath and being aware of the light and love within us and around us. And being aware of co-creators. And with wisdom and love, we choose to share this light and love. And let us remember we're always sharing this light and love. And when we do so out of inspiration and intention, it serves everyone. And so it is. And we'll finish with a piece of music, please.
This last song is A Light in This World by Donna Michael. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright.